Welcome to Assembly Update. I'm Assembly Member Angelo Santabarbara, representing the 111th Assembly District, which includes Montgomery County, parts of Schenectady County, and parts of Albany County. We have talked about the American Red Cross several times on this show, and recently with the flooding that has occurred in my district, we had them on once again. But today we are going to talk about, we're going to kind of build on that. We have Julie Parlato here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Julie, and you are the Regional Preparedness Associate for the American Red Cross of Northeastern New York.
Yep.
And you are located, your office is right in Albany.
Mm-hmm.
And you're here to talk to us about something called Go Kits.
Yes. So as part of what I do is to prepare people for disasters. So what that means is being Red Cross ready. There are 3 steps to it. One very big step is to make a kit. So step 1 is to make a plan, step 2 is make a kit, and step 3 is be informed. So at the Red Cross, obviously, we handle disasters before they happen, after they happen, and everything to do with them as much as we can.
Now, these kits are something that's recommended just in case something happens. You have sort of a little packet ready to go. Where would people find the information on what should be in there?
So everybody can find as much information as they would like to find on redcross.org. You can look up what goes in a kit. You can also check out our Red Cross apps. Our first aid app has a list of what can go in a kit, and it's free to download on any smartphone. So then they can check it off as they go, have the shopping list right there.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed about Red Cross. They have a lot of different useful apps that are free that I've downloaded, and very effective. So I know you have several things that you brought with you here.
Yes. So
let's talk to the audience and show them what we recommend should be in a kit. Now, this is for any disaster or any particular disaster, or does it apply to?
It could be for anything. So the most common disaster we have in our area is obviously house fires. Happen all the time. The Red Cross responds to them all the time. So what we like to do is have people be prepared for things that can happen without them knowing. Usually for a hurricane or tornado, there's always a warning. With a fire, it could be 5 minutes. So in our Go Kit, we have all sorts of things that people can use. Some things lie around the house that we can just throw in when they get old and buy new ones, and then they're here for when we need them. And then some things we go out and purchase. So for example, we have our first aid kit. So obviously what goes in here, we have Band-Aids, we have sanitizing wipes, we've got all the good stuff. So this goes in our kit, and obviously we have these around the house all the time.
Right.
Throw it in the kit. Never know when you're going to need it.
Now, this is something, I see you have the Red Cross symbol on there. Is this something that can be purchased all with everything right in there, or can people kind of make their own little first aid kit?
It's up to them. So we have a preparedness bag that people can purchase on our Red Cross website, but we also have first aid kits they can buy. You can easily put it together. You don't need to purchase it on a specific website or anything like that. You know, anything you would need if somebody scraped their knee, just put it in a box.
Band-Aids, alcohol.
Yep. Exactly. Okay. Put it in a Ziploc bag even. It doesn't need to be a box. Just have everything together.
Okay, excellent.
Just like that. So we'll put that in the kit. We also have big things to have. Flashlights. Number 1 thing to have. So any kind of disaster, first thing you're probably going to do is lose power, right? Even in a fire, even in a snowstorm, you know, easy things we get all the time. Flashlights are always important. So we want people to have flashlights. And of course, if you have a flashlight, you got to have the battery
Now
stored.
that's, I was just about to ask you, because every time I reach for the flashlight, I haven't used it in, I don't know how long. Go turn it on, it doesn't work. So how long before we should check the flashlight or change the batteries out?
I would change batteries every 3 months. We tell people to change their smoke alarms. You know, people say when they change their clocks, other people say every month, you test it. I would say, in my personal opinion, you keep the batteries right next to the flashlight, so then they'll always work when you need to just throw them in there.
Instead of having them in, right?
Exactly, because otherwise it's just wasting it when you're not using it. So you just throw them in when you need them, good to go.
And of course, spare batteries wouldn't hurt either.
Always good to have spare batteries. You never know when you're going to need them. You never know how long you're going to need to use this flashlight for, right? So then we have, let's see what's next. A whistle. Now this is an enormous tool that people don't know about. Because,
I wouldn't think of that.
Exactly. So if you think of any kind of situation where you're lost somewhere, you're in your car, even if you're in your house and you're stuck under something. If you're blowing a whistle, you can blow a whistle so much longer than you can yell. And, so you're yelling for help. Instead, you're going to blow the whistle.
And if power is out, there's no lights, at least people can hear where you are and try and find you somewhere.
So a whistle's always great. You can keep one on your keychain. You can keep one anywhere in your house, in your preparedness kit, wherever you think is a good idea. Having more whistles is better.
Excellent. That is a great idea to have in there.
Yep. So we tell people whistles, like top 5 things is to have a whistle. Very important. We also have surgical masks that you just put on your face. So these aren't things that people really think of, and it wouldn't technically be a top 5 item for a go kit, but if you're in a fire and you have to get out of your house, or in an apartment building, you get out of your apartment that's on fire, maybe just in your apartment, but the smoke's starting to spread, you got to get down the stairs, out of the building, or out of the house. It's always good to have a mask just in there, just grab it, then you're not inhaling the smoke and risking more damage.
Now, this doesn't seem like a typical item you could pick up at a drugstore, or is it? Or...
Well, you don't necessarily have to get one like this. You can get any of the hard shell ones at a Home Depot.
Okay.
Very cheap. If you're going to pick up other things like duct tape or plastic sheeting, like I'm going to mention in a little bit, you can just grab one of these as if you're doing any kind of construction or painting on your house.
Okay.
And then, you know what, and you can even throw an old bandana or something in there, just a covering so that you're not inhaling the smoke or the debris or the mold or whatever it is that you're encountering during the disaster. Yep. So we'll put that in there.
Okay.
Let's see what's next. So duct tape is one of my favorite tools to have in a prep kit.
Now, I have heard there's a lot of uses for duct tape.
Lots of uses for duct tape, right? People say you can use it for everything. Exactly. So duct tape can be used in tons and tons of different ways. Best way, I think, is to mix it with a garbage bag or plastic sheeting, and you get a waterproof anything. You know, you can wrap duct tape in plastic sheeting and run anything you own, and it'll be waterproof as long as you do it tightly. So that's why we have the duct tape. Also, you know, you can, obviously, everybody fixes things with duct tape. You can make entire things.
It's a great temporary hold.
Yes, it is. It is. I saw it a lot when we were handling the disaster a couple weeks ago. So now we have plastic sheeting. So plastic sheeting you can pick up at Home Depot or wherever. Garbage bags are just as useful. The big black trash bags, even the white ones, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Also great to lay down if there's mold on the floor or if water started to seep in, lay the plastic sheeting over. Helps protect you and your family against whatever is coming in, going out, anything like that.
Okay, and again, this can be picked up at probably a Home Depot
Home
or any
Depot,
sort of construction.
Any kind of home improvement store, definitely.
Okay.
Easy to find. Make sure. Okay, so now we have, these are emergency rations. Don't look very delicious, I would say.
Well, I normally I'd be surprised by this, but I remember this from basic training now.
Yes.
And when I was in the Army.
Yeah, exactly. So when we respond to disasters, we have all sorts of food when we try to get out there. MREs are very big, meals ready to eat, but these are emergency rations, so they will keep you alive. They will not make you want more of them. They're not delicious, I will tell you that much.
So it's just add water type deal. And,
okay. Exactly.
And what is this particular one? This is...
I don't even think it's a type of food. I think it just has all the vitamins you need to keep you going.
Sort of like a big
protein.
vitamin pill.
Yep. And it will, I mean, it'll keep you going if you're stuck somewhere and you can't get to any food or anything like that.
Now that, I haven't seen those in stores that including Home Depot. So where would we find something like this?
So something like this you would have to probably order, I would say. It comes in one of the kits. Just as easy, actually way easier, would be canned food.
Canned food, okay.
Canned food, granola bars are easy.
Yep.
Things that are dry or things that are sealed tightly would be just as good. Like you could put a jar of peanut butter in there for a year and it wouldn't be an issue as long as it wasn't open, yeah. Okay. So we tell people especially put some kind of food in there, anything. I mean, cans last for 2 years sometimes. And you could just put beans in there, you know, whatever it is, anything that'll keep you going.
And most cans now, you don't even need a can opener. You can just pull the top.
If you do need a can opener, make sure to get one,
Make sure you put one in the go kit.
Exactly, because otherwise you're going to be really unhappy. So put that in there. Okay, next up we have drinking water. So again, this isn't something you're going to be able to buy at CVS or any kind of easy store. They're emergency drinking water. You can use it for washing. You can use it for anything. Just as easy are water bottles, you know, plastic water bottles, put a couple in there. We like to have people have 1 gallon per person per day during a disaster. That's how much water you need.
Okay.
Okay. Obviously, in your kit, if you have a family, even if you have 1 person, you're not going to want to put 3 gallons of water in there. Right? So as much as you can carry, you know, you don't want to overexert yourself when you're outside of your home trying to survive. So this is great. We like to tell people to get the packets of water, but if that's not a possibility, then bottles of water are just as easy. Throw as many in there as you can carry, and
Now
go from there.
the advantage I see of having the packets is obviously space, right? There's the bottles will take up room and
Exactly.
the gallons like we talked about. But so something like this again, is this a special order or would it?
Yep, this would be another special order item, so you would have to go look for it online. I'm sure it'd be pretty easy to find. Just look for emergency water packets would be pretty easy. But like I said, water bottles, the sooner you can get your kit together, the better. So see what you can replace as you order.
And is this information's all on your website as well?
Yes, all of it is on redcross.org. You can search for Prepare Red Cross. You can search for Just Get Prepared. They have sites all over the place, and we have lists online.
And does the website also tell you where you can order these things, or would that be another Google search?
Yes, so it would help you. So what you can do through Red Cross or through our store is you can buy the kits. So it'll tell you we have little ones, we have big ones. Obviously the bigger ones are more expensive. These ones include water and food. We have smaller ones that don't include that if you want to put that in there yourself. As far as where to find just the water packets, I would say just look and just Google it. That would be your best bet at that point. But you can get the whole pack together, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Okay. And each of these packets, there's actually quite a bit of water here, and it's pretty flat.
Yep, and in there we have 2 of these in the big kit. So there's 2 in here.
Okay.
So yep, you can get through pretty far. I mean, there's a lot of water packets in here. I think there's about 10, and then there's 2 of them in here. So the bag's kind of heavy, but at least you've got drinking water to wash your hands and whatnot, because hygiene is very big during. So I'll put that in here. Next up, we have a water reserve container. So this is another thing. You can find this more easily than you can find water packets, I would say. They're not necessarily shaped like this, but say you end up somewhere that's got a water fountain or a spigot or something like that. Doesn't have to be something for drinking. It can be for, washing your hands, cleaning yourself a little bit if you're lost, or if you live out in a rural place that you would need water and you wouldn't be able to get to it very easily.
So just a way to store this in a compact way, and also a good way to carry it once you fill it.
And sometimes during disasters, so the water will go out, but there'll be a little bit left before your faucet stops running.
Yeah.
So you can kind of drain that into here, and then at least you have the spare.
Yeah.
And you can heat it up depending on what kind of power you have, gas, electric, or if you have to leave the house, maybe you can find a neighbor who can help you with that.
And is this do you recommend how much storage do you recommend if people were to buy a bag like this?
If people were to buy a bag like this, I would say at least a gallon.
A gallon, okay.
They probably don't make them much bigger than gallons, because to carry it, it's pretty heavy.
It's heavy.
So whatever you can do is best. That's what we say about the Go Kits. Whatever you can prepare, as much as you can put in. That's what we like to say. So that's why we have this in here, just in case people have the opportunity. So let's get this. So these are work gloves. So big deal, especially in Fort Plain. We had lots of people who had to be cleaning things up after the disaster. So being prepared for when it hits is great. If you have gloves, you're going to need to be picking up. Doesn't really matter what it is. Even if you have to get out of a house, maybe you have to break a window, something like that. So work gloves wouldn't be great for that, but it'd be good protection for your hands.
And as you said, hygiene is important, and certainly scrapes and cuts on your hands are not going to help.
No, definitely not.
Especially if medical supplies are running low. And a lot of times, even when you're doing gardening, you'd be surprised how many cuts you can get just from doing that. So yeah, that's something you don't think about, but it's a great idea to have in there.
Right, and we're happy to have first aid kits in our preparedness kits, of course, but the less you have to use it, the better. So whatever kind of protective gear you can put on would be great. Sturdy clothes also belong in a bag or near a bag, even if it's sweatpants and a sweatshirt, or old jeans that nobody really wears anymore, but that would be great to have. More things that belong near a kit, or what to wear if you have to get out of your house. Sturdy shoes are enormous. Such a big deal. I mean, whatever is next to the door when you're running out of the house is usually what gets put on. But if you have a pair of old running sneakers that can be there, you don't use them anymore, maybe they can go in a cupboard right next to the door, and then you can just grab them when you run out of the house. It'd be a lot easier than flip-flops if you don't know when you're going to get back in, or if you're going to have to clean up or whatever like that. So that's part of it as well. So then we have poncho, which is useful for everything from concerts to, cleaning in your backyard. But having a poncho, I mean, it comes in this kit, so if you can have it, that's great, especially one as little as this. Of course, like I mentioned before, worst comes to worst, just cut that garbage bag open and put it on your
Now, I find the poncho very very useful lately, especially if you catch yourself out in the summer rain, you don't have an umbrella, you pull it out, and boy, staying dry is a lot better than being wet.
It is so much better, especially if you don't know when you're going to be able to go back in your house again.
Yeah.
Just being able to be dry really just puts it over the edge. You know, we always say at least it's not raining.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So at least you can be dry. Always good to have, no matter what.
And I think I have seen these in a lot of places. I think I've even seen them in supermarkets.
You can, absolutely. You find them in supermarkets, pharmacies, all over the place because they're cheap and you can just grab them, throw them in your car, and whatnot. So next we have big deal is our radio. So tiny little radio. I know we used to use these back in the day. Don't really use them anymore because we have our smartphones. But battery and radio is a very big deal. Radio is always going to be broadcasting, hopefully. You're hopefully going to be able to pick up some station telling you what's going on. Something that doesn't plug into the wall is enormous.
Yeah.
This is going to last a lot longer than your cell phone charged.
And I was just about to say, it's amazing how quickly your phone runs out when you don't have it on charge every so often. And when the power's out, you're just hoping that it comes back in. And at one point, I found myself in my car charging my phone. So a radio with spare batteries definitely could really come in handy during times of power outages.
Yeah, and we have, I mean, we recommend people to have, you know, spare track phones or old cell phones, you know, something that can do a pay-as-you-go, throw it in the kit. You know, it's cheap enough. Sometimes it's not available, and that's okay. But having some way to be informed, you know, on top of what's going on, so you know what places are safe in your area, what places aren't, what roads are closed. Huge deal. People don't even think about that until the storm hits, and then you know you can't get to where you want to be. So that's why we have the radio, and it's easy. Everybody's used radios. Nobody don't really need directions like you do for certain kinds of smartphones and whatnot. Then we have our emergency blanket. So this is something that people use in camping all the time. After people get hypothermia, sometimes people put it on there. After they go through a shock, EMTs will put emergency blankets around people because it'll reflect your body heat. So what it looks like, I'll take it out. I won't unwrap it because it's very loud. But what it looks like tin foil, thin tin foil. So it unwraps all the way, and it's a full-size blanket, and what you do is you wrap it around yourself if it's really cold outside, and what it does is it reflects your body heat back, so every sweat drop that comes off your body is reflected right back onto you.
I see.
So and it's great.
It looks very thin, but it's probably very effective, though, because of the reflective.
And people use it, I mean, not just disaster workers use it. People all over the place use it. Anybody who's dealing with people who have been stuck out in the cold, have gone through shock. I mean, people use it in camping regularly. So they have it in the back of their cars, you know, people who get stuck in snowstorms sometimes in tough areas. So easy to have, very small.
And the way it's packaged, it doesn't hardly takes up any room.
And it does, it's a big blanket. It's huge. So you don't even think it's that big when you buy it. So that one's worth it. Just a little wet nap. I mean, you never sticky fingers.
I always save those.
Exactly. You never know. So these are always good to have too. Just buy a little container of them. That's easy. Last thing is a glow stick. So another thing we talk about is that this will last for like 12 hours, where you can just, you know, put it on top of your car if you're stuck out in the woods for some reason. If you're looking for something, they're pretty bright. I had to break one the other day when I was responding in Fort Plain in somebody's basement, and it's a lot brighter than you think it is. When it's dark, when it's that dark, I mean, it's bright enough for you to see what you need to see usually.
And over time, I know they kind of dim, but I think when you first open it, you're right, it's very bright, and it does serve the purpose of you know, not being in the dark.
Yep, that's right. So if your flashlight goes out, if you want to save your flashlight, if you know you're going to need light for a long time, try to use the glow stick. You can buy a couple of them at a time. It's easy. You know, yellow ones are great because they're the brightest. So that's it. So this is it for our big go kit. I also have over here, I'll put this down here. This is our safety tube. So we have a small version of a preparedness kit. There's only 5 things in it. And I don't think you can buy these separately, singly online, but you can just pack a little Ziploc bag of it. So what's in here, it says right on here, there's a mask. You never know. So I like to tell people to throw this in their car, personally. I have one in my car. A lot of our staff does because we ordered them and we wanted to give them out. Whistle, such a big deal, like we mentioned before, especially in a car. Big deal, because you never know, you know, you're stuck, maybe you can't reach the horn. If you go off the road for some reason, it's dark outside, having that whistle can really just help you out. You can blow the whistle for a lot longer than you can yell, like I mentioned. Another light stick, like we just talked about. A water pouch, which is great. So if you have this in your car, fantastic. If you don't, having a whistle, a mask is good, but a whistle, a light stick, a water pouch, and a blanket. You know, it can be a water bottle, it can be an old blanket, you know.
So just a condensed version of what we just talked about.
Exactly, just a couple things.
And it hardly takes up any room, right in the glove compartment.
Yep.
I think it'll never bother you until you need it.
Exactly. You can. It can fit in your trunk. You can put it in a little bag in your trunk. We like to have people have preparedness kits in their car, at home, and at work.
Okay.
So certain of us, especially me, I mean, I work at the Red Cross, we're always prepared, of course. But other people don't, you know, this is a huge building, obviously. But in other places, people work in small offices, having a kit just in case is great.
Julie, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about Go Kits and some work the American Red Cross has done in our communities.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Packers.
Viking.
Packers.
Viking.
Viking.
Red state, blue state, vegan,
Carnivore.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
downtown,
Night owl.
Early
We
bird.
come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But when we live united, we create real, lasting change in the building blocks of life. The education, income, and health of our communities,
Live.
our families,
United.
even the person next to us.
Live united.
Real change won't happen without you. So give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Sign up at liveunited.org.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back to Assembly Update. I'm Assemblymember Angelo Santabarbara. My district office is located at 1170 Riverfront Center in Amsterdam, New York, 12010. I can be reached by phone at 518-843-0227 or by email at santabarbara@assembly.state.ny.us. Welcome back to the show. We've been talking with Julie Parlato from the American Red Cross of Northeastern New York, and she is a Regional Preparedness Associate, and she showed us how prepared she can be from the Red Cross and how prepared we would want to be during an emergency, and went through what's called a Go Kit. We went through the various items. Now, one thing I didn't ask you, once we get this Go Kit together, where should it be kept? Obviously, under the bed or someplace in the basement where you can't find it during a power outage is not a good place. Where should we keep it? My first thought is to keep it in the car, but what does the Red Cross recommend?
So what I used to recommend, even a month ago, was to put it at the basement, on the steps. And then the flooding came, people's cars got washed away. Lots of places don't really work anymore. So what I like to say is a kitchen cabinet is good, under your sink in the back, maybe behind all the bleach and whatnot's back there. But you can also keep it, any place you don't have to see it all the time, and keep reminding yourself, oh, that Go Kit. So it's good to know that it's there, but something that won't bother you. You don't really have to clean around. So anything first floor, I would say keep it on the first floor. Keep it in, next to the coats and shoes, right, so you can grab it when you get up. Because when you're running out of your house, what you're not thinking of is, oh, I wish I had my Go Kit. you're thinking, oh, I have to get to safety.
Right.
So what you want to do is you want to be able to maybe see it when you get out, but not something you got to go search for and put yourself in more danger.
And we went through the various items that went into the Go Kit, and there's a listing also available on your website, which I see on your shirt as well, redcross.org.
Yep.
So we put everything in. Maybe for people that might have missed the first part of the show, we can quickly go back through and pull the various items out and just kind of summarize the contents of the Go Kit.
So, big thing, glow stick we talked about. It's bright. It lasts a little bit shorter than a flashlight, obviously, but if you don't want to keep your flashlight on for 5 or 6 hours, the glow stick's going to be working for you the whole time. Don't even have to think about it. We also have the emergency blanket, which we talked in depth about. So this is our very, very thin aluminum foil looking blanket that fully will go all the way around your body if you need it to, if it's cold, if you've gotten wet, whatever you need, it'll keep you warm. So that's a good one too. Okay. And it's tiny, but it folds out into be a pretty large blanket, which is great. Warmer than it looks, I promise.
Very thin, but very effective.
Exactly. Water we like to have, so these are our water packets, easy. But hard to find. Usually a special order is needed. So water bottles are just as good. You know, you buy a case, you know, you put a couple in your car, put a couple in your kit, store some wherever else in your house that you can, and then you have it just in case. So that's great too. And, you know, you can keep it in there for hours at a time. It's never going to be an issue.
Excellent.
Okay, what's next? Our emergency rations. So again, something you're going to have to special order and won't taste very good, but just as effective would be, you know, a can of beans, a can of soup, something hopefully you can eat cold. So make sure if you're getting, you know, scalloped potatoes in a can that you're okay with eating them cold, because if you're eating them cold, it's not going to be great, but it will keep you going.
And we talked about the cans. If you don't have the pull top, make sure there's a can opener or some way to open that can.
That's right, exactly. Some bottle openers will do it. One side is a bottle opener, one side has got the corner to it, so that'll be good. Poncho, something people have in their houses all the time. So this is good to have. You can pick it up at any pharmacy, supermarket, whatever you need to do. So that's an easy one as well. Let's talk about flashlights. Big deal. We also talked about the batteries. Those are in there. So having extra batteries, no matter what disaster or non-disaster people have anyways, especially when they have to change their smoke alarms, having those extra batteries. So we want a flashlight. It's easy for other people to see you, just as easy as it is for you to find other things. So that's a dual purpose kind of thing. And we just, you know what, having a flashlight everywhere, anywhere, like the whistles, which we're going to talk about.
And I think the main thing, like you said, is making sure those batteries are working, because almost every time I've reached for one, batteries are dead.
That's right. You can buy a really fancy flashlight, and if the batteries don't work, it's not going to help you at all. So that's why. Also, we have, our first aid kit. This is our biggest thing. So having Band-Aids, you know, antibiotic ointment, any kind of wipes that you can use to get dirt away from the skin if you can't wash it off, which is the #1 thing you should try to do. So this is a few things. We have a bunch more in here, but you can just buy.
And the listing is on your website, and you also have a little compact version that comes in a tube.
Yep, right here. You can put it in your car. It's very small. You can just throw it together.
So anything that we've missed here can be found on your website. I encourage you to visit the website, and there's several apps that can be downloaded that are very useful. Also on Twitter and on Facebook as well.
Yes, we are.
So if you're not following or not on that page, go ahead and do that, or check them out on their website. They are located at 33 Everett Road in Albany, or can be reached by phone at 458-8111. I want to thank you for coming in and sharing all this information with us, and thank you again for the work that was done in Fort Plain. Join us again here on Assembly Update, when we'll talk more about things going on in your community. Thank you.